It's kind of a deep question. Skip says, my wife is pregnant and I'm struggling. Skip is struggling because he's feeling neglected from the lack of intimacy.
Oh,
He says,
Skip.
am I crazy? He says, how do I show my wife love and bring back intimacy after having a new baby?
Okay. I love the tenderness of the question.
Mm-hmm.
And let's start by saying that what Phil's actually asking is, when can we have sex again?
That's totally what he's asking.
Because intimacy is something that is cultivated and that you can experience without putting a penis inside a vagina. It's true.
It is true. I'm laughing at the truth. Yes, it's the truth.
You know, you could, as long as her stitches are healed, you could draw a bath. And the two of you could sit in the bath together. And you could massage each other's feet and have a glass of wine. She's got to pump and dump the milk, but, you know, I seriously.
Yeah.
And if what you're talking about is, you know, when is she going to give me a blowjob? When am I going to have an orgasm? When are we going to have sex? You got to realize she has grown a cannonball and launched it through her vaginal canal, which is basically a major renovation to your downstairs. And they hand you, for that body demolition that is a birth, maxi pads with ice packs in them. And so if you put yourself in your wife's shoes, I remember the first time, I don't know if I remember the exact first time, but I remember being terrified of having sex after having a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to hurt? Is it going to pull the stitches? Like, oh my God, I don't want to get pregnant again. Like, just, And so I love that you miss her. I love that you miss the affection. And what I would focus on is the affection and the connection over penetration. And I think maybe consider that, given that she's just had this major thing happen and then your hormones go crazy and she might be dealing with a little bit of the baby blues. And we also feel disgusting. At least I did. Like, you feel sexy as shit when you're pregnant. Like, I'm making a baby. Look at this big stomach. This is fucking cool. And you're like, ooh, your boobs are spilling out. It's like, I am Venus. But the second the baby comes out and it's all hanging there, and now you want to have sex? Give me a fucking break. And it's real what Phil's talking about, because you can feel rejected, but I would really implore you to please, and think about it this way. I don't even want to make the analogy because people will scream at me. If she had major surgery, right? Let's say that she had to have her hip replaced. Would you be like, okay, when this cast coming off, let's go. Let's try out that titanium hip and see the rotation on it. No, it's an opportunity to actually have intimacy through conversation. I miss you. I don't want to rush things, but I miss feeling your body. You know, what would feel good right now? You know, are you comfortable being intimate? How can we be intimate right now without doing something that makes you feel pain or that you're worried about right now? And this is a real issue for guys, because I'm making fun, Phil, but I don't know if you're talking about the fact that the baby's in the bed and she's breastfeeding all the time and she doesn't feel sexy and now it's been 6 months, or if you're talking about 6 weeks after surgery, you're like, let's get going. And so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but what the real takeaway here is, really cultivate intimacy with a conversation first and talk to her about it and make her feel like anything that works for her is okay. That will make her horny as fuck. And congratulations on the new baby.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Mel, I don't know if you could answer this question, but we're going to give it to you. From Betsy. She says, Can you talk about life insurance and tell me how it works?
Not really.
Okay. Nay says, Mel, how did you know you were dyslexic?
I found out I was dyslexic the way that most adults find out that they're dyslexic, by having a child diagnosed with dyslexia. Mm-hmm. And then thinking to myself, this looks really familiar. And then going and getting one of the neuropsych evaluations and finding out.
Nice. Yep. It's usually how it goes.
All makes sense in the rearview mirror.
Okay, Anne-Marie says, I desperately need to learn how to promote my business, of which I'm very passionate, without feeling egotistical. Can you help her, Mel?
Yes. Anne-Marie, you ready? And for all you people that love what you do and believe in your products and services, but you're embarrassed or worried about what people are going to think if you promote them. How dare you deny people your products and services because you're too fucking insecure to market them? You're so worried about what your friends are going to think about your marketing that you are going to not talk about it. And if you don't talk about it, the people that need you can't fucking find. How selfish of you. How selfish of you. And so I want you to think about marketing what you do, not as bragging, but it's actually an act of service, because people are looking for you. And how the fuck are they going to find you if you're not marketing? And if you're that good, so good that the way that you would market your business would sound like bragging, that's how good you are? How dare you deny the rest of us the opportunity to work with you? How's that?
Mic drop. Next question. Kath says, what are you most looking forward to in the next year, Mel?
Going to Taylor Swift with my two daughters, Mother's Day weekend in Paris. It is my 55th birthday present to myself.
Beat that. That sounds awesome. Okay. This person, who shall remain nameless, says, hey, Mel, what happens when you are doing all the work, all caps, all the work, and you still don't feel like you're enough?
Oh, meaning I thought they meant all the work at home. You're doing all the personal development work.
Yeah, I think they mean all the personal development work. They're just in it to win it, and then they just still don't feel like they're enough.
It's a great question, because I think what I see happening in the kind of interest in personal development is that it can become a form of entertainment. That listening to inspiring content, or listening to advice, or listening to motivational videos, that it becomes like anything else. Like you like romantic comedies, or you like horror movies, or you like scripted series, or you just love personal development. And that was me for a long time. And I just really enjoyed learning and listening and feeling upbeat, but it didn't really translate to action. And so if you are, quote, doing the work, I'm going to push back at you and say, are you doing the work, or are you consuming a lot of content and thinking about it? Because that's two different things, to do the work versus to just kind of learn. And what that means is, are you changing your habits? Are you challenging yourself? Are you doing the deeper, really confronting stuff of looking at patterns of behavior from your childhood and where this pattern and this belief of unworthiness comes from? Are you healing your nervous system? Trying these things like cold exposure and vagus nerve toning, all of which we talk about here. And I'm saying this because it wasn't until I started getting very focused on what's called behavioral activation therapy, which is acting like the person you want to be. And so for you, somebody who still feels unworthy, despite how much you know, despite how much you listen to, I want you to take out a blank piece of paper and I want you to write down, what does a day in the life look like? If you did feel worthy, what time would you get up? What's the first thing you would do when you get up? Would you exercise? Would you journal? Would you go on a run? Would you look at your phone? Do you have a project you're working on? Do you journal? Do you have a spiritual practice? What are the friends you hang out with if you feel worthy? What are the hobbies that you have if you feel worthy? Like, write down, what does a day in the life or a week in the life, what are the habits of that person, that version of you that feels worthy? And then the assignment, the work, so to speak, is do that shit. Do that shit even though you feel unworthy. Do that even when you don't feel like it. Because it's through the actions that you will prove to yourself that, holy cow, you are in fact worthy, because you're taking the actions that somebody who feels worthy takes. And that in and of itself becomes a positive feedback loop. And, the other mistake you're probably making, because we all make it, is you're looking for worth to be proved by a job or another human being. And that's not how it rolls. Worth is created internally, just like love is created internally. And you do that through the actions that you take and the way that you treat yourself. So a couple weeks ago, I took a bunch of your questions rapid fire. And so we're going to do it again today. You ask, I answer.